is Muhammad Irfan bin Abdullah, and I'm one of these members of this group. And today I would like to present to you about the table of entities and activities of Sampin and Songket Enterprise in their cash disbursement system and their purchasing system. Alright, before I would like to explain further about this table of entities and activities, I will remind you that actually this table of entity and activities is not even part of the DFD or data flow diagram, but this table is actually useful in helping us in the process of making our data flow diagram. So this table will make sure that you won't missing any important activities and entities, and this table will also able to be the checklist in our process of providing the DFD for our entity for our company. Alright, this is actually how the table of entities and activities looks like. Uh, at the left side, we will list the entities that involved in the activities, and on the right side, we will uh, list all of the activities that involve in the purchasing system. So at this part, so in this table, we will able to explain about what kind of activities that doing by what kind of entities. So we will conclude all the process in this table. Then we will make the same kind of the table of activities, entities and activities, but we will do the in the separate of tables, which is the cash disbursement system, since the both of the system will be separated. So we will need to make a separate table from the previous system, and this is how it looks like, and we can conclude that actually only one entities that involved in the cash disbursement system of Sampit and Songket Enterprise.
Assalamualaikum. I greet to Dr. Rauda. So I am Nur Ali Natasha binti Muhammad Ali with metric numbers 281487. We'll continue this presentation by presenting the context diagram. Okay, so this is the contact diagram of purchasing system. We will start at the inventory department, which is in this department, the inventory clerk will check the inventory available and send the purchase requisition order to the purchasing department. So at the purchasing department, the purchasing clerk will check the requisition purchase order made by the inventory clerk and make the order according to the requisition, and after that the item will be arrived at the receiving department, and the receiving department will do inspection and reconcile the item in case there is any damage, shortage or surplus at the item they receive. So after that, after the inspection being made, the item and the stuff will be sent to the storekeeper to shelf the goods, and after that the storekeeper will update the inventory subsidiary ledgers, and after that all the files at the receiving department will be sent to the account payable clerk, and the account payable clerk will take out the receiving department's document and match with the invoice in case there is any shortage or surplus. After that, the account payable clerk will update the purchase journals, the account payable subsidiary ledger, and also the account payable control in the general ledger. Okay, so this is the cash disbursement system context diagram. We will start at the account payable department as the entity. So at this department, the account payable clerk will review the account payable subsidiary ledger to see that there is any liability that are due, and they will prepare the payment voucher and the check to send to the manager to get the approval. So after the check is being approved by the manager, the account payable clerk will mail the signed check to the supplier, and after that they will update the account payable subsidiary ledger and also account payable control in the general ledger.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nur Adlin Fatih binti Masaad with metric numbers 281533. Okay, I will present about logical data flow diagram. purchasing system. The purchasing system start with inventory subsidiary ledger file. The clerk will identify the inventory, and then they will request the purchase order through email to the purchasing department. Okay, the clerk in purchasing department will note down the item code, the description and the quantity of the order that need to be request, and then from the clerk will check the supply file to choose the supplier and prepare the purchasing order with supplier name, and then they will have 3 copies. The first copy will be sent to the supplier. The second copy will notify the receiver department to receive the goods, and the third copy will be filed in the purchasing file. Okay, so next, in the receiver department, the purchase order that was received, wait until the goods arrive. Okay, when the goods was arrived, the clerk will inspect them and reconcile the item against the information in the purchase order and the packaging slip. The clerk that manually prepare 4 hard copy. The first copy of the receiving report together with the goods is sent to the storeroom. The second copy of the receiving report is sent to the account payable department. The third copy is forwarded to the inventory control department, and the fourth copy with packaging slip and purchase order are filed in the inventory receipt file. Okay, in the storeroom, the storekeeper will shelf the good and updates the inventory subsidiary ledger. Okay, the storekeeper then file the receiving report department. Inventory control department, clerk will update the inventory control account in general ledger and file the receiving report. In the account payable department, the supplier the invoice from the supplier will update the account payable and the receiving report to match against invoice and update general ledger, purchase journal, account payable subsidiary ledger file, and then they will file the receiving report. After they match the invoice and update, we file the receiving report and supply invoice in the department. Okay, next for cash disbursement system. Okay, firstly, from account payable subsidiary ledger file, they will determine the dues liability, and then from the sequence number due, they will prepare and print the payment voucher. Okay, the payment voucher will be sent to the manager and also sent to prepare the check. Okay, from checkbook, they can prepare a check and then update the account payable in the general ledger file, and then they prepare the check to update the payment in the account payable subsidiary ledger. Okay, the check also will be sent to the manager. So manager will sign the check and then give to the supplier. The manager also will approve the payment voucher and file in a file with invoice and receiving report file.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Muiz Arshad bin Hamiruddin. My metric number is 263897. Now, I will present about flowchart. From this flowchart, we can see that there are 6 departments involved. Firstly, the inventory control clerk will check the inventory subsidiary ledger, and they will prepare purchase requisition and send to purchasing department through email. The purchasing department prepare and print 3 copies of the purchase order. First copy sent to supplier, and second copy sent to receiving department, and the third copy of the purchase order is filed in the purchase order file. In the receiving department, the receiving clerk will file the purchase order in temporary file while waiting goods to be received. The supplier will send packing slip. After that, the receiving clerk will reconcile goods and prepare 4 copies of the receiving report. The first copy will send to the storeroom and to be filed the storage department. The second copy will send to account payable department. The third copy will be sent to receiving department before this to post general ledger and update the inventory. And this flow chart, we are using connector A to show the flow of this transaction. Next, upon receive the receiving report, the account payable clerk will file in temporary file. Then they will receive supply invoice and they will update account payable and post to general ledger. For the flowchart of cash disbursement system, the account payable clerk will review the account payable subsidiary ledger, then will prepare payment voucher and check sent to the manager. In this process, the manager will approve the payment voucher and sign the check. The check will be mailed to the supplier, while the approved payment voucher is kept into the file with the supplier invoice and receiving report in the account payable department. Lastly, this will update account payable and update general ledger. And now, let's see 3 possible strengths of the internal control in the Sampit and Songket Enterprise Purchase and Cash Disbursement System. Firstly, the possible strength is segregation of duties. This will faster up the process because every department has their own duties and responsibility in which they will complete each other by doing their part on time, which will increase the efficiency of the company. As for Sampit and Songket Enterprise, they have divided duties by giving tasks to each department, such as the purchase department, inventory control department, receiving department, storeroom department, account payable department, and general ledger department. Second, Sampit and Songket Enterprise set inventory control system, which is this producer helps enterprise to ensure or check how much quantity should be available or how much order placed at a particular time to fulfill product necessity in shop. For example, on both case study, there are shop users inventory control system for achieving goal effectively and efficiently. The last possible strength is when they are able to apply transaction authorization by sending the payment voucher and check to manager for approval and signature. Transaction authorization is one of the detective controls, and it is crucial to ensure that only valid transactions are processed. This will help the company to recognize any potential risk of unauthorized purchases or cash disbursement are quickly deal with them who try to involve with corruption. All in all, authorized transaction promotes efficiency and legitimacy of purchase transaction with correct amount and valid supply.
The weakness in purchase and cash disbursement system. Okay, first weakness is the Sampit and Songket Enterprise staff did not have any official email, so they just used their personal email in receiving purchase requisition. This is not efficient because they should separate their personal and company email. It may affect the company's order if any technical issues happen. For example, key in the wrong email staff address, or the staff have excessive personal email that they may miss the order. It would make both departments lack in communication, which other department thinks that they have received the email, but actually not. Okay, the second is the account payable staff are not compatible to in charge in cash disbursement activity to prevent any invalid transaction. Okay, this shows that the separation of duty between cash disbursement system and account payable department. It can safeguard the company's cash account, or other the account payable staff must reconcile the bank account every month and perform random audit to evaluate whether the cash payment are valid or not. This is in prevent from the staff in making fraud and lost the trust from the company. Okay, the third one is the second copy of purchase order was sent to the receiver department misconduct. Actually, the receiver department should not receive a normal copy order where it contains information of quantity, unit price, standard price and total amount. The receiver department are forced to inspect and count the goods, so the tendency for people in doing fraud would be low. The warehouse would not inspect when they already write down the amount of the quantity in the purchase order and just sign the document. When there are no information, the warehouse staff will be forced to inspect the goods properly. Okay, the fourth one, the storekeeper updating the inventory subsidiary ledger. They should know the separate duties which would not be done by a storekeeper. This activity should be done by other departments to avoid the fraud in storeroom. The storekeeper might steal the goods and record the wrong amount since they were updating the inventory subsidiary ledger. So other people would not know what they do in the department. Okay, lastly, the account payable clerk update the purchase journal, account payable subsidiary ledger and account payable control account in general ledger. The subsidiary ledger and general ledger will not be separated and both were prepared by account payable clerk. Also, in cash disbursement, the clerk update the payment in the account payable subsidiary ledger and the account payable control account in general ledger. The clerk that have the access in the all accounting record, and they might do fraud, steal the goods or illegally selling the goods. The responsible in updating general ledger, journal and subsidiary ledger were not separated and no independent verification to verify the accuracy of this transaction.
So next, we move to the risk exposure from internal control weakness. So the first one is the system do not meet in performing intended tasks, which is, as we know, that Sampin and Sankey Enterprise did not prepare any official email for the staff. Instead, they are using the personal email to send the information from one department to the one department. As we can see, for example, the inventory clerk signed the purchase requisition order to the purchasing clerk by using their own email, and as a result, it might be the omission of the information from the one department to the one department, and also it could lead to the miscommunication in case the clerk is keying the wrong username of the email. And it is also hard for the person in the same department to recheck in case there is any problem with the email, because the email can be logged in by the user or the owner itself. Even though the company practice the calling the other department for reminding the information, but still it is not efficient for them to go growing wider and further in the future. Next, fraud such as overpayments or unauthorized billing can happen when account payable clerk is taking over or in charge in the cash disbursement activity. This is because there is possible that the account payable clerk to do the overpayment, to prepare the overpayment voucher and issue the check over from the amount liabilities that they should pay, and they will transfer the overpayment to their own account for their own benefit. This thing might be happen because there is no one in charge to recheck the amount of liability due and also the amount of check issued. So this case might be highly possible happen because there is no double checking method happen there. Next, we move to the next point, which is the wrong details recorded in the receiving department. This is because um, the receiving department, as stated in the statement, they receive the normal copy purchase order as it consists of quantity, amount, unit price, and also the total amount. So, the receiving department staff might be taking it as a light work and do not do the inspection properly, and as the result, they might be overlook any shortage, surplus, or any damaged item. Next, the fraud such as theft of inventory by storekeeper might be happen if the storekeeper is assigned to update the inventory subsidiary ledger. This is because there is possible for the storekeeper to steal the item and sell it back to the customers in the higher price for their own benefit and purposely record the wrong amount in the ledger. Thus, the inventory written in the invoice is not in the invoice or the ledger is not as same as the amount of inventory that available in the store. By doing this, it could lead to the loss for the Sampai and Songket enterprise because the amount of they bought is not the same as the amount they sell back to the customers. So last but not least, there is no segregation of duties or separation of duties within the account payable clerk when it comes in updating the account payable control in the general ledger and also account payable subsidiary ledger. By doing so, this could lead to the irregularities and recording errors in the journal or the ledger because there is no one recheck or taking in charge to observe the account payable clerk in updating the ledger. And all the task is given to the clerk and he or she should do it by themselves. And also another possible fraud that might be happen is the bribery or kickbacks because the recording of the account payable is made by the account payable clerk itself. So there is no one else knows about the real recording, and as a result, the account payable clerk might be sell the information of the company to the external entities for his or her benefits.
Alright, after we are done explained well by Tasha regarding the risk exposure that faced by the Sampin and Songket enterprise due to the weaknesses that have been recognized in their purchase system and cash disbursement system, I would like to explain to you the internal control procedure that associated with the weaknesses. And at first, SSE need to provide their staff with the specific emails for the companies or for the business staff matters, so their staff can easily to separate between their private and the working life. And then the SSE need to separate the responsibility of the cash disbursement from the account payable clerk because this is not the appropriate duty for the account payable clerk and the duty of the cash disbursement, and it is need to be and it is need to be separate. And then SSE need to forbid their storekeeper from updating the ledger because this is not their task to updating the ledger, but this is a task for the accountant of the companies. And then they need to separate the task of updating accounting information from the payable clerk because this is also not a part of the duty for the payable clerk in updating all accounting information, which is the purchase journal, because all of this regarding the accounting information that need to be updated in the accounting system should be done by the accountants. And the last part is SSE need to send the confidential source of document. It means SSE need to recognize which is the confidential source of document that need to be sent to the certain department, and which is the source document that need to be considered as confidential. So any risk that probably happen from the leak of the information can be avoided. And if you can see that three from this internal control procedure is relating to the segregation of the duty. So it means we can see the main problem in the purchase system and the cash disbursement system of Sampin and Songket Enterprise is regarding the lack of segregation of duties. So probably that's all from me. Alright, I will start the suggestion on how we can use the information technology or IT in change our conventional business to the digital business. At first, I will suggest the usage of the ERP, inventory management, or enterprise resource planning inventory management. This ERP, inventory management, is the system or integrated system that able to make the business manage and handle their finance, logistic, operation, and even their inventory in one place. This integrated system will able to increase the efficiency of the business and able to cut down any redundant activities and cut down any double handling activities that happening in the business. All these can be done by the ERP, inventory management, with the usage of automation daily tasks. So the business won't need any employees in doing the daily tasks anymore. So there will be a lot of costs that have been saved by the business that use this ERP, inventory management. Moreover, this ERP, inventory management, will make the supply chain of your business will be transparent, which means this ERP, inventory management system, enables you to integrate with the external partners to ensure all the system communicate with each other, which means the stock, the order, and the shipping information is therefore synchronized across the entire supply chain, which is your business and will able to apply the third party logistics when the outsource logistics service regarding your products, since your supply chain of the from the suppliers, from the logistic party, will be able to link and synchronize simultaneously.
The second one, apply online collaboration tools for their business. Online collaboration tools is a software that allows users conferencing, discussing, or meeting about their management of the business in the online video form. These tools are well-crafted platform offering instant message transfer file and powerful message searching. Without face-to-face meeting, employees can conference with each other by using online collaboration tools such as Zoom, Google Meet, Webex, and Slack. These tools are free of charge so that the business owner does not need to worry about the increasing of cost by using these tools. Therefore, applying online collaboration tool is a good way of applying information technology to transform a digital business operation.
So now we move to the next point, which is a company should apply the usage of digital payments. So what is digital payments? Digital payment is a payment or transaction that is being done through online banking or website or company's portal. So, why I recommend a company to use digital payments method in order to transform their conventional business to a digital business? Because it is super fast and easy, as the payees can receive the payments fast from the payers, and also it is easy for them to check the data or the transaction that are being done from the payers, as all the data has been stored in the cloud. So we don't have to worry that any data or documents will be lost, as everything uh, have been recorded and stored in the cloud, so we can just recheck it back. Other than that, I can say that by using digital payments, it is also helps in increasing the engagement with customers or suppliers. For instance, the company can prepare any rewards for those who is using online payments method to pay their transaction instead of using the checks. So for whoever that reached the minimum points set by the company, they can redeem any rewards that is prepared by the company, such as a discount voucher or free shipping voucher. So by doing this method, it is also helps the company grow wider and make the customers stay with us. Next, I will suggest a company to digitize their account payables by applying virtual cards or e-invoicing in order to break any inefficiencies or delay payment. By applying virtual cards, all the purchases made by the one company will be recorded in the one invoice. Thus, all bill related to the one company will be gathered monthly at the end of the month. So by doing this method, it will help administration in checking the data and also helps in reducing errors as all the data will be keyed in automatically. Other than that, by using e-invoicing, it helps the company runs efficiently as all the invoice will be sent through a secure portal made by the company instead of through the email. I can say that the e-invoice is the same look as the normal invoice, but it is much efficient as we can pay the bill on the spot after receive the invoice by quickly confirm and click on the bill. So other than that, I can also say that by applying this method, it is also guaranteed secure as before the payment is being made, the bank will verify the identity of the e-invoice senders and also the payers to avoid any wrong payments or to the other accounts.
Lastly, during this crisis, the business owner can sell and take their order through e-commerce store. These business transactions occur either as business to business, business to consumer, consumer to consumer, or consumer to business. This method can help to reduce people from gather in the small premise at the same time and to prevent COVID-19 from spreading. E-commerce stores such as Amazon, Shopee, Lazada and Foodpanda can help the small business by registering their company into this application to sell goods or food. This application will collaborating with shipping company like JNT, Post Laju at Foodpanda Riders to deliver customer order. The business owner can advertise their shop in e-commerce at social media to get attention by society. The customer could get their tracking code automatically when the goods were ready to ship out. By using this application, the business owner can receive order anytime and anywhere.